All right, let's open the Open Space Committee meeting. It is 1:05 on January 10th, 2023. We're being videoed, and has everybody looked over the minutes from the December 20th meeting?
Yes.
Any changes and corrections? None? I entertain a motion to accept.
I'll second.
So moved. Okay. Okay, I vote to accept. All in favor? Aye. Okay, next is the Open Space and Recreation Plan Review. Okay, we're going to look at the action plan or whatever. We're ready, Dan.
So the action plan's all set. We did that last time. So for today, I was gonna send out the plan, but it's pretty long, so I figured it might be easier to read and review on a paper copy. So that's what that is. I did want to save a little bit on printing, so you're not gonna see a lot of pictures or graphs in there, but that'll get in there, and maps. Those will all be in there. I just sort of wanted to save some ink there and some paper. So it will be a little bit longer. There'll be some more figures in there, but that's sort of the meat of it. So since, you didn't have anything to review previously, I think maybe if we can take the next week and a half, so not this Friday, but next Friday, take a chance to review it, mark it up. If it's easier to review it on there, and then give me your paper copy, I can come and collect them, and I will send out the link too if you want to edit it on there and just add some comments. So whatever works best, but maybe let's say, what's today's date? Today's the 10th, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe by January 20th, if you can review it, like I said at the last meeting, rip it to shreds. We want to make sure this is representative of what we've discussed, what we've learned from the town. This is an update, so some stuff, especially if it hasn't changed since your previous plan, is probably going to be the same. Like the historical stuff, the soils, stuff like that's probably going to be the same. But mostly it's been updated to reflect, new data that we've gotten, and then obviously new insights from our community engagement. So, like I said, feel free to rip it to shreds, send me those comments. Just shoot me an email if you want me to come and pick them up. Maybe you could drop them off at the town hall, and I'll just come by whatever that following Monday is to get them all. And then after that, so depending on what edits you might have, and I'll be adding in all of the maps and stuff, and the other figures that I didn't have included in there. Depending on the edits, it might take me a week or so to get those in, and then we should be good to send it off to the planning board and the board of selectmen for their review. Unless there's really a lot of changes that have to be made, that might take a little bit longer. Any questions with that? Okay, yeah, so like I said, just shoot me an email if you're gonna edit it online, or if you want to do it on your paper copies, and then I'll come and get those. And then the maps. So I finally got the edits back on the maps. There are a couple of things. Why don't we start off with the zoning map, which is map number 3. Okay, so we were able to take out the streets that were, or the trails that were labeled as streets in the state forest. Matt, our GIS analyst, checked the ZBA, and so that zoning is correct, at least in terms of what's in the Zoning Board of Appeals data. We can change it. We just didn't know if maybe we should get the approval of the planning board or the ZBA, just to make sure we're not saying that zoning's changed when they say that is that industrial area up in that Douglas State Forest. So we weren't really sure how to tackle that, because that's just what it says. But we're happy to change it. Maybe we just want to shoot the ZBA an email.
This, the scene, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it, what is that, zoned industrial up there?
Yeah, and the red is, what's it? It's adult.
Yeah, so we're not sure why, but that is what it at least is reflected on the town's data that we have. So we're happy to change it. We just figured it might be best if we get the approval before we say that that zoning's changed. If it hasn't, or if it's zoned that way for some reason. And then I think we got everything else on the zoning map. Like I said, those trails are not, I think, not listed there anymore. But feel free to look through it again, and if you see any other edits that we need to make, we can do that. And then if there's no questions.
Yes, Wallace, yeah, the trail down to Wallem Lake, the Wallem Lake Trail.
Wallem Lake Trail.
Down the lower left.
Okay, so that's another trail, okay.
That goes down to the park, but there's nothing that goes over to High Street. I mean, there is, that's the
Okay,
trail.
Wallem Lake Trail.
That's the coffee house loop, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of a mistake.
And Wallace Street, I don't think
That's
that's,
not correct. We already have a Wallace Street in town.
Wallace Street, okay. All right, so those are both.
but actually, I would keep the street that's Wallace all the way down to the boat ramp at the lake, you know?
Yep.
Like at the L's, get rid of the WA and the road at that point, all the way to High Street.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions with the zoning map?
A lot of wetlands.
Okay, if not, then we can move on to, I'm not sure what I put down next.
This map for soils engineering.
Okay, yeah, so soils, so we took out the trails for all of the maps. So we'll do that, the remaining two on that one as well. But this one just looked different to me. I think he might have just changed the colors. So I printed it off again, but really aside from the trails, there weren't any other changes made except for the colors for that one. And then I think the same with the habitat map, which is not next, I guess. Yeah, let's do the unique and scenic resources. So here, because we had so many features, we couldn't label them all on the map, like, with a name. So we got green dots to signify those different features, and then there's a zoomed in area, 'cause that's sort of northeastern part of town had a lot of them. So there's that zoomed in area right up above it.
And the
might
numbers
have
are
them.
somewhere else.
I might have him change the color of the numbers. It seems like it's a little bit dark there. But so those are labeled, and then I didn't print off the data table, but I have that you guys have filled out, which correspond with those numbers there. The only thing is Castle Caves and George Washington Spring were, we just couldn't find the location of that. So if you can give me a more specific address, like a street number that it's behind or near, or if you have the coordinates, like that would be helpful, just so that we can label those, so we can get a sense of where those might be. Castle Caves and George Washington Spring.
I could show you basically, but not totally.
Okay, well, if you have a general idea.
I do.
We just need a bigger blown out map.
Yeah, I mean, I could put it on Southwest Maine, but I don't know if it's before the curve or after the curve, so it would be better for me to just
Okay,
bring this
yeah.
with me and
Sure. Yeah, then just let me know.
and well, Castle Case is different because there's no road nearby,
Okay, yeah.
so I could do a road number
Okay.
for the George
And
Washington.
Street.
Brown Street.
Potter Road?
Well, it's between Potter Road and Brown Road. I mean, when we went there, we went down Brown Road and then back bushwhacked over towards Pond Street. I don't know exactly where in there, you know.
But yeah, so those were the only remaining questions we had. So then, you know, again, if you're reviewing it and you see anything else, or like if you have any edits about the colors, anything like that, feel free to pass those along. And then, I don't know, what's your next map?
Open space inventory.
Okay, open space. So again, not really too many major changes. So for the town-owned resources, those are now color-coded slightly differently based on whether they're conservation lands or recreation lands. And then again, the edits we made to all the maps, so we'll include, let me just highlight that, include getting rid of those couple remaining trails. And then again, you know, if there's any other edits that you see, feel free to pass those along, but just the changing of the label of conservation versus recreation was the biggest change for this map.
Okay, good. Is Becky happy with the train, the snap, yeah.
Yeah, that was not state. I didn't do that apparently at the GIS office. Because that's state.
The railroad bed that runs
Yep.
through.
You got it to the edge of the forest boundaries, but you don't have it where it goes all the way through the town.
Okay. Okay.
And they were supposed to have updated that on the state GIS.
Okay.
This is interesting.
We probably didn't do it on the state, but we can highlight that. I can just have Matt highlight that.
I noticed behind my house, the property is owned both, it says 61A and state. They overlap.
Interesting.
Yeah. See the little panhandle? I'll show you. Oh, you let me show you. Right here. They overlap.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, man.
And then, oh, go ahead.
I'm sure I still have the emails where I had actually listed the parcels that are owned by the state. If I email that to you, you could get that to...
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and then probably too, I mean, I don't know how effective it would be emailing that to the state, but because this is all Mass GIS data, so if it's not on there already, again, I don't know that they're going to do anything yet. I don't know that they're really going to change it, but
Not enough more time on that trail.
and then what's next? Your habitat map. Okay, yep. So again, just changing those trails. So we'll make sure all those are changed. I don't think there was anything else with that map to change. But if you see anything new, or anything that maybe we missed, feel free to send that along.
So looking at the one we're just looking at for 61A, and it's not on here, it's 61B. Nearby. Yeah, that's good. Okay, just returning.
And then I think the last one you've got is a trail map, so that'll be a new map you didn't see before. It looks like there's already one property that's missing trails, but if you see, like any of the other conservation land in town, if those trails are mapped and we have the data, we can put those on, or if you can send us the data, we can put it on. And then if you know there's trails there but they're not mapped, you know, we can figure out a way to come out and map those because we have a Trimble, so we can collect that data.
funny, they have this, the Mid-State Trail goes into Sutton, Oxford, but yet it continues straight and goes left, but they have a trail going right. Maybe it does.
So maybe, same with the reviewing of the plan, take the next week and a half to look through these maps, get any additional edits that you want on them, and then depending on if you want to email those to me or if you want to drop them off with your paper copy of the plan, I can pick those up and then get those final edits to Matt. So we can get these maps finalized. And then the other maps, there weren't really any big changes to those, aside from the few we already discussed. So I didn't print them off, again, just to save some paper, but I will upload all the new maps to the OneDrive. And then sort of the last thing, because we've covered the, or I guess the last two things. Were you able to track down the ADA documents? Okay.
I've emailed them and called them, and I'm gonna go over there after.
Sure.
the meeting.
Would it be helpful if you had a copy of what another town's
Sure, I
look
mean,
like?
I'm sure he would
Okay.
appreciate that, just I think he's just busy.
Yeah, that's fine. And the thing, if we can get it before we submit the plan for the first review, that's great. If not, the state always comes back with comments that we have to address, so we'll have an opportunity to update it afterwards. So if it's taken, if we get into like mid-February and we still don't have those letters, maybe we'll just submit the plan without them, and then we'll add them in afterwards. That's not a problem. Okay, and then the other thing that I wanted to touch base on was the Board of Selectmen and Planning Board letters of support. We discussed it before. What we could do is just send them the plan, have them review it, and then, they can discuss it on their own. In other towns, those boards have wanted us to go and present to them at one of their future meetings. I'm happy either way. So I don't know if you had a chance to talk with them yet, or if we want to discuss what the best.
I would think maybe just give them the plan and see
See
if
how they
they
feel?
want us
Okay.
to come,
That's fine.
rather than, come up with questions rather than doing the whole thing, if
For sure.
there's areas and then less time spent.
Okay, I'm down for that. Okay, so we'll send it. So, probably a week and a half after I get the comments from you all, we'll finalize that and then get that sent over to those boards.
I'll check with them, that just when the meetings are, yeah.
And then, we can ask or
Can write them a letter and, yeah.
want us to present it, or just give us a letter. And then sort of in addition to that, it might also be helpful to post the plan on the town's website once, it's in good shape for us, just for a public comment period. I don't know how many comments you're actually going to get doing that. I don't actually, in other towns, we haven't really gotten a lot, maybe one or two, here or there. But it's just another opportunity for folks to engage with the plan. And we can also send it out. We collected all those email addresses
Right.
during the
People
survey,
that-
so we can send it out to them as well.
people that
But I want to
can
wait until we
invest.
get it, into a better shape. So we'll wait on that, but then we can. post
These
for-
people we could tap into for following through with it
Yep.
later. when Danny's gone.
And then besides that, I think, unless there's any other questions, we're good to go.
Next meeting then.
So the 31st, from the 20th to the 31st is 9 days. Is that enough for you to, if we get you that?
Is that the next meeting, 31st?
Well, I wrote down, yeah.
I think that's fine.
Could be the
If
next week too.
there's, like, if you're reviewing it and there's like a lot of big changes that need to be made, then, maybe we'll discuss doing the 7th instead. But I think for now, again, unless there's any sort of major changes, that should be completely doable to get those edits in by then.
Okay, is everybody available on?
I have a
think either one.
doctor's appointment on the 7th
Okay.
in Waltham. Probably my last one.
Shoot for the 30th. then.
All right.
I do have
31st.
31st. I do have a dentist appointment in Watertown at 11 on that day.
Well, let's pick another day then.
Well, I could, if we just pushed it back, maybe like 2, just to give myself a little bit extra time to get
I
in.
could do that.
All right.
Yeah? Okay.
I didn't even put the time.
It's wide open.
Yep. Yeah.
To make sure I don't show up at 1.
We're programmed, yeah.
You're right.
Where's my friend?
So January 31st at 2 p.m.
This will be good because we can look at the old maps and everything else. Pick them apart.
I don't know that the map edits will be completed by then, because I don't do those. So it just sort of depends on what Matt's workload is like. But I'll at least get them over to him as soon as I get them, and hopefully he can make those changes quickly. Any other questions for me?
No, so what I have to do is just to see Ken.
Okay. Cool. All right.
All right, really worth your trip down here.
It's all right.
Yeah, you like a short one occasionally.
Yeah. You kill some time driving, so.
Yeah.
Thank you, Danny.
Yeah, thank you.
So we can talk about whether, I can meet you at the usual spot with all the stuff.
Oh, sure, yeah. Our spot.
Now that we. All right, next is the 61B property that we said we thought the town should buy, and I have heard nothing. So we sent the Board of Selectmen the letter that he wrote up and.
Well, they didn't say no.
Right. they probably haven't.
Take care.
Yeah, they probably haven't had a chance to get it on their
Right.
agenda.
We asked them to tell us when the meeting was gonna be, that would be on about that, so. If you wanna look at the letter, I got right here. Oh, and this. Pass it around.
Oh, you printed it out.
That's, yeah, I figured it'd be good to keep it track.
Of course, now they're having one with about doing the open space and recreation plan.
Yeah.
I'm like, we could use it last
I got the
year.
email and I checked, all those Thursdays are free, so I'm gonna sign up for it.
Good. Great.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I just forwarded that to everyone.
Okay.
To today.
Good, okay, then
So-
she's got it, Lisa's got it
Yeah.
then. Yes, all right.
Via email. So I thought about printing, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna save paper, I'm just gonna forward it to everybody. So, but you got it in
In the box, the
one thing.
mailbox.
Oh, see, I got it
In
via
the town,
email.
yeah.
It was like 4 pages to print out. This was much better. Cool. Very cool.
Interesting, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, the biomap, the latest and greatest.
I've already played, I looked at that a few times.
Yeah.
Actually, I looked at it, the Biomap 3 for,
Yeah, 61B, yeah. Yeah, that's what, that was good in the letter. That's a good punch at the end. So, all right, I guess Lisa's still busy at her little Zoom meeting about Castle Hill.
Mhm.
So, I will end this one. If there's any new business for anybody? Got enough business? All right, entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move adjournment.
Second it, move it, and all in favor?
Yeah.
Aye. Okay. 1:32. Woo.